Back on the show is Joey Gomez, who is stepping up on short notice to take on Rob Font at UFC Fight Night 81 in Boston on January 17th. And Joey, welcome back to the show. Like I said right off the top, really appreciate it. I got to ask, where were you when you got the news you'd finally been signed to the UFC? And how cool is it to finally achieve your dream of getting to the UFC? Because I know this meant a lot to you.
Man, it's still pretty surreal, and like I haven't had it's processing, especially now that it's gone public, but it's an amazing feeling. I've been trying to achieve this goal. I set out to achieve this goal almost 10 years ago when I was 20 years old, and when I first started fighting, I saw these guys in the UFC doing what they do, and I was like, I know I can do this. I just have to work really hard, and for it to happen is just like it's it's really cool.
You're kind of speechless. I love it. I think that's great.
I was actually at work when my manager, he was calling me. He called me like 3 times in a row, and I couldn't answer the phone at the moment because I was working. And then I look at my phone, and it says, Joey, you need to call me now. And I was just like, oh, man. I was like, either something really bad happened or something really good happened. So I call him. I'm like, what's up, Tim? He's like, how fat are you? I was like, I don't know, kind of fat. And he was just like, you think you can make 35 in 20 days? I was like, absolutely, if it's for the UFC. He's like, it's for the UFC, man. You ready? And I was like, oh my God. And that's kind of like when I was set into the whole, just like went into shock pretty much.
Good stuff. Yeah, and it's interesting. The last time we spoke, you had an interesting quote in our interview, and you said I've outgrown the local scene. And I imagine getting a call like this didn't catch you too much off guard, just with the fact that this is something you knew was coming. If I kind of heard you correctly when you said that.
Absolutely. I kind of felt like I said, I've been doing this since I was 20 years old. I'm 29 now, so it's been 9 years. And not that there's some amazing talent on the regional scene and at the local level. However, coming from like I always consider myself being brought up at Team Quest. You know what I mean? I was there for the longest stretch of my career, almost 4 years. And like just being around that high level of training and being around that high level of athletes was just like, it's night and day. You know what I mean? I've been exposed to that, training alongside Darren Henderson and, Tarek Safardine, Terry Sokaju, like all those guys, like those were my training partners when I was 22 years old. You know what I mean? And here I am 7 years later, and it's just like, I knew that if I could hang with them in the gym back then, that I could, there's no reason why I couldn't be competing on the world scene.
And is this kind of like a perfect scenario for you in the sense that, you're fighting a fellow CES vet in Rob Font? You guys, assuming Rob had stayed in CES, I'm sure you guys would have crossed paths at some point. Does it kind of add a bit more kind of excitement to the fight with the fact you're fighting a guy that, you've known for a while, I would assume?
Yeah, actually, Rob is, I know Rob personally. We've, every time I see him out at the CES shows, we always, I always sit down and, and chat with him. And we trained together when I was training out of Sit-Yo-Tong back in 2000 and I think it was 2012, 2013. I was with Sit-Yo-Tong for like 3 or 4 months and I had to stop. And Rob is an all around, he's a good person, and I'm really grateful that he's allowed me the opportunity to share the stage with him. So, I'll forever be indebted to him for that. But it is kind of cool. Two local guys, you know what I mean? He was the kingpin at 45 and I kind of became the kingpin at 35. And now, he dropped to 35 when he went to the UFC, and, now we're going to hook him up. So it's going to be an honor to share the stage with him, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And let's talk about that. How do you think you match up against Rob Font? He's been on a roll lately, obviously, been outside the cage for quite some time due to injuries and things like that. But how do you think you match up?
I think I match up well. I think it's going to be an exciting fight. He's a striker. I'm a striker. We both like to bang. He likes knocking people out. I like knocking people out. It's going to be fireworks. I definitely think it's fight of the night candidate, and it's something the fans are definitely not going to want to miss.
And I mentioned there the layoff. He hasn't actually fought since July 2014, but he does have that 10-fight win streak. Do you feel like you're catching him at a good time, just with the fact he has been away from the cage for so long?
Ring rust. Everybody talks about ring rust, and I don't really know. Ring rust only comes into account like if you completely stop training. And I know Rob's been training. Even during his layoff, you know what I mean? We have the same strength and conditioning coach. So we run into each other at, skill of strength all the time. And, we talk here and there. So I don't think it's going to be a problem from him, but is it good? I think it's great because I've been off for 10 months and he's been off for, 18 months. So I definitely think it's going to be kind of like a comeback for both of us.
Right, absolutely. Now, last time we spoke, you were training at Team Link with Ed Carr, Muhammad Brooks for your boxing, and then obviously doing your strength and conditioning with Mike Perry. Is that kind of the same thing going into this fight as well?
Absolutely. Still working the same coaching staff, I'm keeping my circle nice and tight, and, just going to get in there and go do what I do. There's not a whole lot you can do with 20 days to get ready, but when the UFC calls, you answer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned, you've known about this for a while. How tough was it to kind of keep this a secret? Because I know the UFC doesn't like that information leaked out, pretty early and things like that.
It was super hard. It's like I felt like waiting for Christmas to be able to announce it on Facebook. You know what I mean? And like I was kind of struggling with it. Like it was just there was so much that is involved when you sign with the UFC. Like it's pretty incredible. I'm still on this roller coaster of like emotions and timelines and stuff. I've got information and contracts and stuff. So I'm just like, it's really mind blowing. And then yesterday when we got to announce it on Facebook, it was like a relief. Like, all right, now the world knows. So now it's time to go out there and get busy.
And how do you see this fight unfolding on January 17th? I mean, if you look at your record, all finishes. I'm assuming that's what you think is going to happen in this one too.
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna just try to put on a show. I'm gonna keep it standing and slug it out, and we're gonna see who the better striker is that night.
Awesome. Well, it's going to be a great fight. We're definitely looking forward to it. I'm actually interviewing Rob Font on Sunday. I got to mention we're recording this on January 1st. Is there anything you want me to pass along to him?
Thanks for the opportunity, Rob, and I'll see you January 17th.
Nice. I like it. Nice and polite. Very living up to the whole martial arts respect thing. I can definitely appreciate that. Now, obviously, without looking past Rob Font, you've wanted to be in the UFC for a while. Is there anyone you kind of have your eye on as far as guys you'd like to fight in the bantamweight division? Because, like I said, this has been a dream of yours for quite some time.
Somebody that I've been watching for a long time that's just now, making ripples in the weight division is Thomas Almeida. He's an absolute savage. I've been watching him since he was 10-0 fighting in Brazil. I think that would be a great fight. I'm going to fight whoever the UFC puts in front of me right now. Being that it's my first fight in the UFC, I think this is a perfect fight for me. You know what I mean? As experience levels go, and I'm still working right now too, which can be difficult, working a full-time job, training full-time, and competing on the world scene. Like, something's got to give. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity for me to kind of figure things out and then, embark on this journey. And, once the fight's over, that I can really start to fine-tune my life. But as far as calling people out yet, there's really nobody that I have particularly in mind, other than, obviously TJ Dillashaw one day. So... But other than that, man, I'm just excited to be here,
And we just had the holiday season. Obviously, the best Christmas present you could have got was getting this UFC contract. But was there any other cool gifts you got for Christmas that you can share with my audience here?
Just the birth of my baby boy, man.
Congrats.
So I got everything I need. I got a beautiful wife, 2 kids, and I'm signed to the UFC. I mean, what else could I want in life,
Absolutely. Well, we're certainly looking forward to it. January 17th, UFC Fight Night 81 in Boston, you against Rob Font. Joey, I want to thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to get an interview with you right after the news. I really appreciate it. Just remind my audience where they can find you on social media, and I know you got a lot of people to thank, so the floor is yours. Even go do your Sally Field moment here with the Oscar speech if you need to. You got lots of time here.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank my sponsors, Ben Centers Trucking, Warhorse MC, Motor Parts Exchange, obviously Skill of Strength, Team Link, and Joe Sagner for continuing support, their continuous support of my fight career and just helping me stay focused and pushing me along the way. Obviously my manager Tim O'Connor for making it happen. We struggled for a long time for this. We thought we were going to be here like almost a year and a half ago, but we did it and we made it. Brian Gillespie helped me a lot as well, and Walter Catito for always being there for me too, man.